He's 43 years old, he don't want to work.
But you slept with him without protection. At this point, the insults are irrelevant. 2 years later, still sitting up here arguing with eeny, meeny, miny, and no, we don't know this, and she did this, and he did this, talking about nothing.
After a 6-year relationship between Thomas and Nelson that birthed 5 beautiful kids, Nelson is in doubt about the true paternity of their 5th child, Jakai. When asked why she thinks Nelson was denying her son, Miss Thomas claimed that it is probably because Nelson recently got married to another woman.
The only thing that I can think of is because he recently got married.
Is that true, Mr. Nelson?
No, it's not, y'all. It was good in the beginning when we first started having children. And then after that, it's like me and her started like both doing our own little thing. And we was already about to split, but she ended up getting pregnant. But at that time, she was already messing around with other guys.
So, Nelson believes that Thomas's son belongs to one of the numerous men with whom she had sexual relationships, despite her claiming that it is not true. How did these two even get here? Throwing infidelity accusations at each other. I mean, according to Thomas, they used to be extremely happy together and in love with each other.
Our relationship, it was good. That was my best friend. We did everything together.
Take your time, I know it's hard.
Yana, we was both young at the time, and we was both new to the whole parent thing. After that, we done got older and grew, and it's like we grew apart away from each other, and I still, even if I'm married, I still be trying to keep a good relationship with her to talk and stuff like that. It don't have to be, we just know we can't be together.
Hearing that story would make you think that these two were so deep in love that they would weather through any storm together. However, it turns out that they both cheated on each other. First, it was Nelson. Next, it was Thomas. And by the time Nelson found out that Thomas was cheating on him, things turned sour immediately.
So wait a minute, you had 4 children together and then you find out Miss Thomas is with another guy?
Yes.
How did you find that out?
The dude's picture was popping up on her phone.
It didn't start like that. He decided to leave because at that time we did grow apart.
What is this? Why then do you start having other men popping up on your phone?
It wasn't men, it was that one man.
This is just sad. After 5 years together and 4 children, this is how they decided to ruin their relationship. When the relationship between Thomas and Nelson began to crash, the latter observed that Thomas was having pregnancy symptoms. However, when they did a test, the result came out negative.
And Your Honor, that same day he said that, we walked to the store and I took 2 pregnancy tests in front of him, and then they ended up negative. So I was not pregnant. I also had an app on my phone tracking my periods when I'm ovulating, and I have it right here.
In October, it looks like around the 28th is when your cycle begins.
Yes, Your Honor.
At this point, things are still not clear on where Thomas's sexual relationship with the other man comes in to prove that he is truly a potential baby daddy. According to Thomas's cycle calendar, all fingers are pointing toward Nelson, but he claims that he doesn't even remember being intimate with Thomas on the day she claims it happened.
Do you remember those dates, Mr. Nelson?
No, I do not, Yana. When I got back from North Carolina, I had went through her phone. She was like, every time I had sex with him, and this is after you left, I started having sex with this guy.
So wait a minute, how did you find out about the other guy exactly, Mr. Nelson?
I told him.
She honest, I'm not gonna lie, she do be honest.
I told him.
So what did you say? You just came to him and said, I have something to tell you?
We weren't having sex. We was never having sex no more.
We
2
weren't.
months go by, 3, I'm like,
damn! But all of that is not even the crazy part. It turns out that the woman Nelson is now married to, Mrs. Courtney Nelson, is the same person he was cheating on Thomas with back when they were still together. What's worse is that despite the fact that Nelson is now married to Courtney, he is still messing around with Thomas. Here, take a look at their messy situation.
Mind you, he was cheating on me with her. I didn't know about her until I found out she was calling him through Facebook, and he was trying to lie then because we were still messing around even when he was with her.
I wish I had the old phone. I could show you.
I have text messages also that we still mess around still to this day.
In the end, the poor woman got dragged into their mess. All along, Courtney had thought in her head that she was so lucky to have been married to such a fantastic man. Unknown to her, he was still messing around with his ex, who, by the way, has 4 children for him. As per the judge's request, Courtney narrated how she found out about her husband's infidelity.
It's a video I found. The video is dated April 3rd, which would have been, I guess, the first day or so that she had showed up in Greensboro. All I know is I saw her demeanor when she came around, and she was kind of like high stepping. I'm like, okay, this is a person that's supposedly supposed to be so hurt. Like, why is she grinning? And then I saw his demeanor, and he looked guilty. So I put 2 and 2 together.
Clearly, this man has successfully played these women, thinking that he can have both of them to himself. But neither Thomas nor Courtney realizes what a fool Nelson has made of them. Thomas firmly believes that Nelson will come back to her and her kids, while Courtney believes that what happened was a one-time thing. These two even start arguing over this same man who has hurt them deeply.
Comfortable from going from wifey to side chick.
No, I'm
It's
not
weird.
nobody's side chick
It's
because
weird.
your husband is the one that tells me
It's
he
weird.
wants to leave.
But that
you.
makes you a side
For me,
chick.
No,
That
it
makes you a
doesn't.
side chick. We're
No, it does
legally
not.
married.
Wait a
That makes
minute.
you
No, it does
mistress.
not.
Listen,
No, it does not.
listen.
He told me he married you out of spite.
I did.
Let's
Oh,
get
okay.
some order. Let's get some order.
Now, would you look at that? Two grown-ass women with misplaced priorities. Seeing how much this irritates me, you can imagine how annoyed Judge Lauren was after seeing these two women behave in such a shameless manner.
He's sleeping with both of y'all. Okay? So look, let's clear the air. Neither one of you are on a step higher than the other. Cause you may not be his wife, but that's the mother of all his children and maybe another one. You all both look miserable. I can see the look on your face, Mr. Nelson. You decided in your mind that it's possible for you to have both of these women.
That just had to be said. It may allow Thomas, and especially Courtney, to see what Nelson is really doing to both of them. But all of this is not even over yet. As the episode continues, Nelson's deception is revealed every second. He claims that he and his wife, Courtney, have moved past his infidelity and are happy together. But is that really the truth? Let's find out.
What are you hoping for now? What do you want out of this?
I want him to leave me alone. Honest. If he's gonna make his marriage work, let your marriage work. I'll try to move forward with my life. He texts me. He calls me and tells me how much he misses me and wants to be with me. It's not the other way around. And I have messages.
Your Honor, all right.
And if he wants to be with
Did
me,
you bring the messages to court with you?
yes, Your Honor.
Just look at that. Of course, hearing this shattered Courtney completely because she thought her husband was done with Thomas for good. But it turned out that neither of the women had learned their lesson because they broke into another heated word exchange. This time, Judge Lauren could not hold it together anymore as she blasted their heads with some profound truths.
I don't
some
feel
kind of
no
way.
Honestly, I don't
But-
feel no type of way.
but-
Yes, you do.
If you're gonna make your marriage work, leave me alone.
Stop. There's no sense in standing here when the woman's just trying to acknowledge that both of you are in an emotional battle over a man who's taking advantage of both of you, and then you sit up and say you don't feel some kind of way.
This man has really done these women dirty. Between these two women, emotions have been flying everywhere. Words have been thrown, and yet Nelson stands between them unaffected. That should tell them a lot. Anyways, the primary purpose of the court session is to find out if Nelson is Jakai's biological father. Let's see how that goes.
Mr. Nelson, you are the father. It's number 5.
I met him and he already had, 4 kids with her. So what's one more?
I'll tell you what one more is. One more means this isn't over. This child deserves to know his father. His father's gonna have to come visit him.
Next up, we have a more complicated situation between one woman and 3 of her sexual partners. Virginia Hatcher tells the court that at the time she believes her son, Josiah, was conceived, she was having sexual relations with these 3 men: Edward Scott, Derek Blake, and James Sneed. Wow, that's a lot. But how did Hatcher get herself into such a situation?
At the time, I had sex with 3 different men around the same time my son conceived. I did have a 5.5-month fling with Mr. Scott, and I also had...
No, Your Honor, that is not true. It was just sex, period.
That's what a fling is.
Not to me, not to me.
So please keep going, Miss Hatcher.
Interesting. Now, on Hatcher's calendar, she highlighted the days in which she had sexual intimacy with each of the men. While giving a breakdown of the sexual encounter with Sneed to the judge, Scott made a rude interjection. Take a look.
One time.
Did you use protection?
No, we did not.
How much did he pay?
Excuse me, Mr. Scott. You gonna be respectful in this courtroom.
Your Honor, this is him. He is a disrespectful man. He is very ignorant. He's all that to me and my son. Just recently, he knows that we don't have a working refrigerator and a stove.
Hatcher now knows that she made a huge mistake being with Scott for that long. Moving on, Judge Lauren asks Scott why he is in doubt. He tells the court that he was not always in doubt, as he was present during the baby's birth and even signed the birth certificate. He also adds that he has always been providing for Josiah, a statement that Hatcher is quick to correct.
Hand
I've
me
been
that birth
buying
certificate.
diapers, I've been buying playpens, I've been taking care of the side, letting him come to my house on football Sundays.
Your
I spend
Honor,
the whole...
that man is not doing... Your Honor, that man is not doing any of that, okay?
I'm not doing it
He is not a
anymore.
good
Ever since
person,
I found
period,
out
Your
that I
Honor.
don't
I'm
think
sorry.
he's mine, I have
He is
stopped.
an ignorant person.
That young man has my last name, Your Honor, and it could be not...
As you have seen, Hatcher disagreed with Scott's testimony, claiming that his narration of how he found out that Josiah may not be his is totally wrong. So, in her testimony, she explained to the court her version of how she revealed to Scott that Josiah may not be his. Watch this.
I added up the dates and everything. I thought I conceived in January. To find out I didn't conceive in January, I conceived in December. So then I was like, oh man, I came to him like a woman and I said, you know what, Josiah might not be yours.
Why didn't you just win?
Josiah might not,
When?
Josiah might not be yours.
When did you do that?
Chaos. Chaos everywhere. Meanwhile, Blake, the second possible baby daddy, doubts that he is Josiah's father because what happened between him and Hatcher happened once. Again, Hatcher disagrees with the second man's testimony.
All right, so Ms. Hatcher, do you remember whether or not you two used protection when you...
Yes, I do. Well, first time we did use protection, and then the second time we didn't.
Your Honor, it wasn't no second time.
We had sex twice.
I only remember one time. I know I wasn't that drunk, Your Honor.
Now, why are you doubtful?
Great! Apart from the fact that Hatcher and Blake had a sexual encounter during her window of conception, Hatcher listed Blake as the second possibility because she sees similar physical structures between Josiah and Mr. Blake. So, now it is time to assess why Hatcher thinks that her baby daddy could also be Mr. Sneed.
You have good reason to believe that Mr. Sneed is the father. You see similarities there.
Yes, I do. In his feet.
Explain.
In his feet, he has flat feet like Mr. Sneed.
I thought he had the flat feet.
I know how this may look. The only thing I'm trying to do is just try to find out who my baby father is. I had moved from a house to having a car.
All of those remarks and accusations Hatcher made about Scott were the beginning of Judge Lauren's anger, seeing how careless Hatcher has been, having a sexual relationship with 3 different men, and putting herself and her son in such a tight situation. I understand where the judge's ballistic reaction came from.
You slept with him without protection.
Yeah, I did.
So at this point, the insults are irrelevant. If you would listen and stop talking, you would already see.
No,
You're
ma'am.
not on trial.
No, ma'am.
You don't need to defend yourself.
No, ma'am, I have children. I have 3 kids.
Listen, you don't need to defend yourself, sir.
But the judge was not even done with these two yet. Scott and Hatcher were engaged in a heated argument of their own, which clearly pissed off Judge Lauren. Her response to their messy drama was nothing any one of them saw coming. Take a look at this.
Guys, calm down, please.
Truth be told, when this man stepped up and signed the birth certificate, then really that should have been, that's it. Because that's what babies deserve. Their mother and their father in the hospital, 2 years later, still sitting up here arguing.
That's right.
With eeny, meeny, miny, and no.
I'm sorry.
Talking about.
Wow. Hatcher is really desperate for the result to come out, with either of the other men being Josiah's father and not Scott. It makes you wonder what kind of trauma he has put her through. Of course, Judge Lauren notices Hatcher's demeanor, and she asks her to put her emotions into words. Here is what Hatcher had to say.
I'm ashamed that I'm here for this for my son, because I would have never thought I'd be a kind of woman like this. It wasn't like I was in a relationship with none of these, but I feel that I should know.
And now you've gotten yourself centered back in the place where you know this is really not about you, it's about your son.
It's not about me.
Because this courtroom is about children.
Well, I'm glad that Hatcher is willing to put her best into ensuring that Josiah has a better upbringing. Once all of this is over, little Josiah will not only have a father in his life, but also be brought up with love from both parents. Meanwhile, Scott passionately expresses his own will to do right by Josiah if the boy turns out to be his.
Then we find out who his father is, whether it is me, him, or him. I want to know, because if he's mine, I want to be with him. I got 3 kids. I would give my last for mine. I would give my last for my kids. And if that boy is mine, he gonna know he got love.
Well, that's nice, but at this point it's time we know who Josiah's biological father is. Are you curious to know if the baby daddy is Sneed, Scott, or Blake? Then stick around and you will find out soon enough.
Mr. Sneed is not Josiah's father. Mr. Blake, you are not the father. Mr. Scott, you are the father.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. You happy?
Thank you. That means he has my name and I don't have to change it.
Well, I guess Hatcher is stuck with Scott. Jokes aside, this case is not about both parties but little Josiah. So, just like Judge Lauren says, more like rants, whatever issue they both have with each other should be sorted out for Josiah's sake. Don't you think so?
Listen, now you two have to help Josiah. You have to help one another and help this child. Why is it you can't be adult and I don't want to hear anything else? else. I want to tell you something. You all have to love Josiah more than you dislike one another.
Gabriela Lopez, a mother of 2 beautiful children, Aliana and Noah, is at the court to prove that her ex, Horacio Carbajal, is the father of her kids. All of this happened after Carbajal and his family did a homemade DNA test on the kids to find out if they were his, a test Lopez claims was fabricated. But first, Judge Lauren sought to know when the paternity doubt sets in.
You meet each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I'm trying to figure out why was there ever doubt in the first place.
Well, I met her through a social network. She told me, hey, come see me, for the weekend or just one night. So I want to go see her. And that day that I want to go see her, she'd be like, we basically have sex that first night.
It was
Boom.
not that
Yes,
first night.
it was.
No.
Yes, it
No,
was
it
the first
wasn't.
night. Yes,
No.
it was.
Okay, from Lopez's testimony, it is crystal clear that Carbajal did not plan to have a baby with her. Yet, they had 2. I'm confused at this point. How did they go on to create 2 babies, 1 year apart, if that's the case? Meanwhile, Carbajal is of the opinion that Lopez wants his money and deceives him into believing that he is Aliana and Noah's dad.
All she's doing this because she wants our money. She knows
I don't care about
she
money,
knows my
okay?
family has money, and she knows I don't work.
I don't care
I
about
don't
money,
work,
Your Honor.
right?
I growing up, I did not have a father, and I did not want my daughter growing up without a father.
Well, that's
It
not my
hurts me to
problem.
know that she does not have him around. He says he's the father. He even has her name tattooed on his arm. He was there.
Wait, so after he had already bonded with Aliana and was 100% certain that she was his, all it took was a picture of a random man who his sister's friend thought looked like the baby for Carbajal to start having doubts that he was Aliana's father. Unbelievable. Even Judge Lauren was taken aback upon hearing this.
Okay, so all you got is a picture on a cell phone and you go, oh, this guy looks just like my niece. I don't think my brother's the father. What other doubt do you have? Did you witness? Did you hear about her sleeping with other people?
My family was, when they were born, they didn't look nothing like us. My mom and my dad were saying
Your daughter did look
that
like you.
they had nothing related to us.
Oh, it seems like Mama Lopez has a thing or two to add to the situation at hand. Did anyone else see how fast she rose to speak when the Carbajals were attacking her daughter? Even Judge Lauren had to ask her to take a spot next to her daughter so she could also give her own testimony. But what does Mama Lopez have to say? Let's find out.
What is it that you'd like to add? They're saying they were at the hospital. You say they weren't?
They were at the hospital after they were born. I was there when Aliana was born, when she was being pulled out of my daughter. Second time around, he wasn't there either for the Noah's birth. I was there for Noah's birth. I was there for both babies.
Why couldn't I be?
Why is it?
Because you
were
could
never
not.
Yeah, I was gonna
You
go. I
changed
was
your
going.
phone number.
Since all it takes to determine paternity is looking at a picture, Mama Lopez also has a point. I mean, the Carbajal sister did the same when she looked at a picture and decided that her brother wasn't Aliana's father. And it seemed like Mama Lopez was successful with her picture theory, because now Carbajal's argument is that Noah has something no one has in his family, a cleft lip.
My
Yes,
little
your
boy,
dad.
my little grandson looks just like your
No,
dad
he
because
doesn't.
there
Yes,
are
he
doesn't.
pictures.
He doesn't. No,
There's
he doesn't.
pictures
Yes.
that we
No.
look side by side.
Yes,
he looks
he
like
did.
your dad. You may be light complected,
So
but
why
your
was he
dad
born?
is
Why was he
dark.
born with the
looks a
cleft
lot
lip?
like that guy
Why was
that
he born with the
Your
cleft
Honor,
lip?
I
That
did
has
not-
nothing to do with genes from you
My
guys.
family does not have
Your
a
Honor.
history of cleft lip.
Oh God, nothing. This woman has said since the court session began has helped her case. And now, there is another evidence against her? I'm not surprised that she couldn't get out of this one easily. That aside, the issue of the Carbajals taking a home DNA test resurfaced as the judge wanted to know the circumstances surrounding that allegation. And I'm sure you do too.
He did a paternity test that he bought from the store. I did not know about it until he gave me the results that came back.
So you took a home, and at home,
Off the counter. We bought
DNA
it.
test.
Yes, my mom bought it off the counter. They came with swabbing things, you know?
okay, so it came with all of the utensils,
Yes,
everything
and
you
then
needed.
paperwork.
That's another round of unnecessary arguments starting over again. In a bid to move past the issue without any more drama, Judge Lauren examines the evidence of the over-the-counter DNA from Carbajal.
So here are the results of the test, but I don't see any identification, no need for a witness signature, and you say one of the names is spelled wrong?
Yes, my daughter's first name is actually spelled wrong on there.
And so, Ms. Lopez, you're saying that this test is fraudulent?
Yes, I was not there to witness it.
Well, the result turned out to be an unreliable document, and it was scrapped. At this point, what everyone actually needs is the real DNA result. It is time to find out if Carbajal is truly the baby daddy or not. Let's see for ourselves.
Mr. Carbajal, you are not her father. Okay, now we have the answers for Aliana. We still have to get Noah's.
My mom wouldn't have spent so much money on those tests to
We
be
spend a
swabbing
lot of
other
money.
people.
We spend a
other
lot of
kids.
money to do those tests.
You guys should have still told us what you were
No,
going
you
to
think we were
do.
gonna tell you? Think you guys were gonna let us do it? No.
We wouldn't let you do
No, you
it.
wouldn't.
I wouldn't let you do it, yes.
This is such a sad sight. The results haven't been completely read, yet all these people could do is argue again. It was at this point that Judge Lauren lashed out at all of them for their nasty behavior.
We have the results now from a laboratory conducted DNA test, and you sitting up there still arguing about a home DNA test. Now I know you all don't have no sense. Just looking for something to argue about. You're just looking for something to say. What you need to be talking about is that lie you told saying you weren't sleeping with nobody else.
But the judge wasn't even done with her yet. I don't blame her for going all crazy of Lopez because she made the Carbajals seem like they were in the wrong when she was just a dirty liar all along.
Now put your hand down and look at me. You don't get to go into boo-boo cry mode.
You don't even
You're
talk
learning a valuable
I got nothing to say
lesson
anymore.
right now.
They're not my kids.
Mr. Carbajal, quiet. I'm trying to talk to you because this has got to be a learning day for you. Because you can lie only for so long, honey. There's a phrase say, if it don't come out in the wash, it's coming out in the what?